If you are looking, here are some quarterback, tight end, defense, and special team streams for Week 16 fantasy football. Monitor his health, but Brock Purdy the last 3 weeks ranks number 15 for passing yards, and only 6 quarterbacks have more passing touchdowns. He has been the overall quarterback 10 through these 3 starts. The system helps his floor for fantasy. Jalen Hurts is out this week, leaving Gardner Minshew as the Eagles starter. In Minshew's 2 starts last year, he scored 17.78 versus the Jets and 15.44 versus the Cowboys, who he plays this week. Dallas is a tough matchup on paper, but he does have a good O-line and weapons. Zach Wilson does have a good matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's coming off of a top 10 performance last week, throwing for 317 yards and a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. You have to monitor the weather, though, in this one. Sam Darnold draws the best quarterback matchup versus Detroit for fantasy this week. In his 3 starts this season so far, hasn't had a big week, but he hasn't turned over the ball, and I feel like he's going to throw a lot in this game. Tight end streams, Juwan Johnson across his 6 appearances played over 50% of the snaps. He's been a top 8 tight end in 5 of them and a top 4 tight end in 3 of them. He has 7 touchdowns on the season, which is second to the tight end position. Noah Fant, you have to monitor as well. He missed Wednesday's practice, but in 2 out of 3 of his last games played, he's had 14.2 fantasy points. Tyler Lockett is going to be out of the mix this week, leaving Goodwin and Fant to be beneficiaries of target volume. 4 straight games with 5+ targets, 2 top 8 performances for the tight end position, 5 out of 7 of Chig Okonkwo's last games with 41+ receiving yards. Houston is a top 10 fantasy matchup for tight ends. I'm a little hesitant, though, if it's Malik Willis playing. Arizona is the best fantasy matchup for tight ends. Cade Otton plays them this week for the Bucks. He's had 4 top 12 tight end finishes this season. Before Daniel Bellinger's injury, he had back-to-back top 12 performances, weeks 5 and 6. He's had some tough matchups the last 3 weeks, but I feel like he can be involved this week against the Vikings. And maybe a bit deeper here, but Jordan Akins, the tight end for the Texans, 2 out of 3 of Akins' last games, he saw 6 targets. Tennessee allows the 6th most fantasy points per game to tight ends, and their wide receiver room has been banged up. Defense and special teams. So Tennessee faces Houston, who have scored the 3rd least points per game. Detroit faces a bottom 10 scoring Carolina offense after a good game versus the Jets. Cleveland faces the Saints. They have a low over and under facing weather issues. Denver faces the 2nd lowest scoring Rams offense. The Rams in the same game face Denver, the lowest scoring offense. Houston is a bit risky because I feel like King Henry is going to have himself a day, but if Malik Willis is the quarterback, I feel like there's some upside there. Then the Chargers face a Nick Foles-led offense that has 0 Jonathan Taylor.